Welcome to RTV Global Network's Deep Dive 0820026. I'm Liam, and joining me is Olivia.
Hey there.
So today's deep dive is, it's really about understanding a world that is just in this massive, aggressive transition.
Yeah, completely.
I mean, we are looking at a huge stack of international dispatches today, financial data, local reports, and we're trying to connect the dots between all these extreme environmental shifts, economic bottlenecks, the justice system basically collapsing, and this crazy escalating global technology race.
Right, because when you look at today's reports, the three line is just undeniable. I mean, systems that were built for this, predictable 20th century world are just buckling under the weight of modern volatility.
Yeah.
We're seeing physical infrastructure, economic policies, legal frameworks, all of it just simultaneously failing to keep up with the actual reality on the ground.
And the most obvious place that volatility is showing up right now is just, well, the physical environment. I mean, the climate extremes are entirely dictating terms today.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, Sri Lanka is facing this brutally severe dry spell right now. The latest data shows 84,545 people are directly affected.
It's a staggering number.
It is. And Mannar is taking the absolute hardest hit. I think it's over 11,000 residents impacted there alone.
Right, yeah. And then followed by Batticaloa with over 9,500 and Ampara nearing 3,000. So we are looking at an immediate crisis of water and agricultural security.
Yeah.
But the data also reveals this deeply unstable atmospheric profile. Because while those eastern and southeastern districts are just baking under drought conditions, Nuwara Eliya up in the Central Highlands just recorded a biting low of 14.6 degrees Celsius.
Wait, 14.6? How do we have those extreme microclimates just completely contradicting each other on an island this size?
Well, it's a hallmark of the shifting global weather patterns, particularly onset of El Nino.
Okay.
It alters atmospheric circulation, so it fundamentally changes where moisture gets trapped and where heat gets compressed. And this isn't just a local phenomenon either. The government is actively mobilizing to prepare for El Nino-related food supply risks right now.
Right.
In fact, Sri Lankan delegates literally just told the UNCCD COP17, that's the United Nations Convention, to combat desertification.
Right.
They told them that drought preparedness has to be executed before a crisis hits, rather than, scrambling afterward.
Which makes sense. But the global impact is massive, too. Like, looking at the international maritime data from today's reports, the Panama Canal is actively limiting its daily shipping traffic ahead of extreme El Nino weather.
Yeah, they have to.
It's kind of behaving like a chaotic global traffic cop, like simultaneously drying up local farms here, freezing the highlands, and bottlenecking international maritime trade over in Central America.
Well, the Panama Canal limitation perfectly illustrates your point, actually, because the canal doesn't just use ocean water. It operates using a system of locks that are filled by surrounding freshwater lakes.
Oh, okay.
So when El Nino brings severe drought to Central America, those lakes simply dry up.
Right, so no water for the locks.
Exactly. Without sufficient fresh water to fill the locks, cargo ships literally cannot pass. The weather is physically breaking the supply chain.
That is wild. I mean, if the environment is that hostile and unpredictable, securing energy becomes a matter of national survival. And today's resource moves really reflect this desperate hunt for energy independence.
Definitely.
Like, 34,000 square kilometers of the Mannar Basin have just been opened up for international oil and gas exploration.
It's just massive.
Yeah, it's huge. And at the exact same time, proposals are out to lease 29 abandoned oil tanks in Trincomalee.
Right, so it is this dual strategy. They're monetizing dormant assets in Trincomalee while aggressively mapping out new extraction zones in the Mannar Basin. But the execution of that strategy is, well, it's where the data shows significant operational failures.
Yeah, because the procurement data regarding our energy management is just staggering today. Recent coal tenders were reportedly based on rough estimates rather than the actual real-time needs of the power plants.
Yeah.
Like, how does a national energy grid buy coal based on a guess?
I know. It points to a severe bureaucratic disconnect.
Yeah.
If the central procurement desk isn't digitally integrated with the daily burn rate and output metrics of the actual furnaces at the power plants, administrators have to fall back on historical approximations.
Which is crazy in this day and age.
Right. And buying coal without real-time grid consumption data means you either waste millions of dollars stockpiling fuel you don't need, or you leave the grid starving and risk blackouts.
And the rush for all this industrial expansion is clearly causing immediate environmental damage on the ground. I mean, we have three separate ecological scares in today's dispatches.
Yeah, it's a lot for one day.
First, there was this mystery blue substance found in Colombo's water supply, which obviously caused a massive public panic before authorities gave the all clear.
Right.
Then, hazardous material teams are scrambling right now to remove chemically contaminated soil from paddy fields in High Amphidoua.
Yeah, and investigators link that directly to runoff from a nearby container yard.
Exactly. And on top of that, formal legal action is underway over illegal sand mining inside the Peranthan proposed reserve.
I think the High Amphidoua incident is probably the most telling, honestly.
Why is that?
Well, when chemical runoff from an industrial container yard just freely bleeds into civilian agricultural zones, you have a complete failure of zoning laws and industrial regulation.
Right.
We are essentially trading long-term ecological stability for short-term logistical storage.
Which brings us to the economic fallout, because environmental mismanagement directly bleeds into the economy. And the financial signals we are getting today are just completely contradictory.
They really are.
On the macro level, President Anur Kumar Dissanayake is making strong public calls for science and innovation to drive economic growth.
Yeah.
And to kind of validate that optimism, the World Bank just named Sri Lanka South Asia's most favored nation, citing a climb in global investor relations rankings.
And that World Bank designation is a crucial macroeconomic signal, Climbing the Investor Relations Index means international lenders see improved transparency, better policy frameworks.
Sure.
It signals to foreign capital that the environment is stabilizing.
But wait, let me push back on that because the ground reality totally contradicts that macro optimism. How does the average citizen reconcile being the World Bank's most favored nation when the government's 95 billion rupee MSME and agriculture credit program is almost entirely exhausted?
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, the money for micro, small, and medium enterprises is running dry right as the farmers in Mannar are losing their crops to the drought.
Well, you are identifying the brutal lag between macroeconomic policy and microeconomic reality. International rankings do not put cash into the hands of a farmer whose soil is currently baking.
Right.
The exhaustion of that 95 billion rupee credit fund is a huge red flag because those MSMEs provide the vast majority of local employment. When their credit dries up, local economies freeze completely, regardless of what the World Bank says.
Exactly. And the tourism sector is showing similar conflicting data points. We have this massive surge in footfall, like 1.3 million visitors overall this year.
Yeah, a huge surge.
But when you look at July specifically, there is a 10% year-over-year drop in earnings.
Yeah, that is the volume versus value dilemma right there.
Yeah.
Tourists are arriving in higher numbers, but they are spending significantly less per capita.
Oh, I see.
Global inflation is forcing travelers to tighten their budgets, so the hospitality sector has to service more people for fewer dollars.
And the corporate sector is scrambling to adapt to all these pressures, too. Like, Sri Lanka Towers is actively eyeing fresh capital. Windforce is expanding its engineering services across South Asian markets.
All right.
But domestically, the Distilleries Company of Sri Lanka, DCSL, just issued a stark warning that recent tax hikes are going to push consumers directly into the illicit liquor trade.
Which is a huge concern for tax revenue, yeah.
Exactly. And more alarmingly, the local apparel sector is flagging a massive double risk today about a new trade deal being negotiated between the European Union and India.
Yeah, the apparel sector warning is an existential one,
Well,
obviously.
really? Like, that bad?
Yes. If the EU grants India preferential tariff access, it instantly destroys local competitiveness.
Oh, wow.
To put it simply, if Europe drops border taxes on garments coming from India, an Indian-made shirt becomes artificially cheaper for a buyer in Paris than a Sri Lankan-made shirt.
I get it.
And our garment industry operates on razor-thin margins anyway. They cannot absorb that kind of price disadvantage without massive job losses.
Man, that's rough. And the physical infrastructure is struggling just as much as the financial systems today.
Yeah.
Heavy traffic is just plaguing the expressways.
Yeah, complete bottlenecks.
And at the same time, land demand is surging along the Ruanpura Expressway corridor as speculators bet on future connectivity.
But the system is already at capacity, Yet speculative money is just pouring into these undeveloped corridors.
Yeah.
Managing that chaotic growth is going to fall squarely on air. Vice Marshal. Retired Thushara Indunil Fernando, who was literally just appointed as the new Commissioner General of Motor Traffic.
Well, he definitely has his work cut out for him, especially considering the state of our broader transport infrastructure. I mean, we have a report today that a training aircraft crashed at Ratmalana Airport.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
And while official investigations are pending, public chatter is heavily pointing towards severe runway potholes as the primary cause.
I mean, a runway pothole causing an aviation crash represents the absolute failure of basic infrastructural maintenance. You cannot attract high-level foreign investment if the literal tarmac is crumbling beneath incoming aircraft.
Exactly. And when economic and infrastructural stress reaches this level, the cracks always show up in the justice system.
Oh, inevitably.
Today's reports detail an institutional framework that is just buckling. On a high-level basis, a trade union and civil front has formally urged the Bribery Commission to launch a probe into the Chief Justice.
Yeah, a civil society demand for the Bribery Commission to investigate the highest judicial office in the country indicates a profound crisis of institutional trust.
Right.
The public is demanding accountability at the absolute top of the legal pyramid.
Simultaneously, former spy chief Suresh Sallay has just been handed a fresh 90-day PTA detention order. Investigators allege he is obstructing probes and withholding crucial intelligence regarding the 2019 Easter Sunday attacks.
And the use of the PTA, the Prevention of Terrorism Act, is significant here.
How so?
It allows a state to bypass standard trial procedures and hold individuals for prolonged periods if they pose a severe national security threat.
Okay.
Applying it to a former intelligence chief signifies that investigators believe elements of the security apparatus itself actively compromise the investigation.
Wow. And the corruption isn't just at the top, right? It's bleeding all the way down to the operational level in the prisons. Parliament is currently seeking urgent police proposals to ease severe prison overcrowding.
A massive crisis.
Yeah. Up in Jaffna, they've had to establish a joint emergency response mechanism directly at the prison just to maintain order.
Right.
The popular metaphor is that the prison and justice system is like a leaking dam, and Parliament is just trying to drain the water. But looking at these reports, the CID keeps finding new structural cracks. It's more like a compromised digital firewall, you know. The threat isn't just external pressure. The malicious code is executing from the inside.
The firewall analogy is exactly right, because the system administrators are actively working with the threats.
Right. Look at this wild detail from the CID today. Organized crime figure Kela Badr Padme, who's been remanded until September 3rd, had his phone confiscated and searched.
Yeah, what did they find?
Investigators found the direct contact numbers of 13 active prison officers alongside photos of politicians and models.
See, if an organized crime boss has 13 active guards on speed dial, the boundary between the incarcerator and the incarcerated no longer exists.
Exactly.
The facility isn't holding the criminal is operating the facility.
And the money generated by these networks is flowing right out of the country. Investigators just uncovered multiple overseas properties owned by large-scale drug trafficker Sharon Basic.
Wow.
Furthermore, the criminality isn't restricted to physical borders at all. MP Namal Rajapaksa released a statement today calling for immediate, decisive action against highly coordinated online abuse networks.
So security threats are fully multidimensional now. The state is trying to police physical prison cells, track illicit international property markets, and combat digital harassment networks all simultaneously.
Which completely explains why general security forces are on high alert. Police are heavily tightening the security perimeter in Kandy today for the 4th Randoli Perahera.
Right.
Meanwhile, internal police discipline is also under scrutiny. There's a probe currently underway regarding a controversial viral video that leaked from the Mbalangota police station.
Yeah, local instability almost always mirrors the tension on the global stage, unfortunately.
It really does. Let's zoom out to those global dispatches because the geopolitical friction today is intense. In the Middle East, Donald Trump is claiming that all naval mines have been successfully cleared from the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
But simultaneously, Iran and Oman are deep in discussions to create a temporary shipping corridor because the broader impasse with the U.S. remains completely unresolved.
Yeah.
And to escalate things further, the USS Washington Aircraft Carrier Strike Group has officially entered the Arabian Sea.
Look, the Strait of Hormuz dictates the flow of a massive percentage of the world's oil.
Right.
Deploying an aircraft carrier strike group is a blunt display of overwhelming military deterrence. Meanwhile, Iran and Oman establishing a back-channel shipping corridor is an attempt to bypass that Western deterrence entirely.
Okay.
It is a highly volatile, heavily armed standoff over the world's energy supply.
And amidst all that military posturing, basic diplomacy is struggling to maintain balance. 11 new foreign envoys just presented their credentials to the Sri Lankan president today.
Yep.
And today is also Miladun Nabi, with Sajith Premadasa releasing a statement highlighting that the Prophet Muhammad's guidance is vital for maintaining multi-ethnic coexistence.
And coexistence requires active, daily maintenance. Statements like that are necessary reminders when the physical safety systems of the world are failing so tragically.
Yeah, and speaking of those failures, the international tragedies in today's reports are incredibly heavy. A devastating fire tore through a hospital in Islamabad, killing 15 newborns.
That's just horrific.
Over in the UK, ground crews at Gatwick Airport discovered a stowaway who tragically died of extreme cold after hiding inside a commercial plane's landing gear.
We are looking at desperate failures of fundamental infrastructure here.
Yeah.
Whether it is a maternity ward lacking basic fire suppression systems or airport perimeters failing to prevent a human being from climbing into a freezing wheel, well, the ultimate cost of infrastructural failure is always human life.
It's heartbreaking. And while humanity is struggling with these profound physical tragedies, the global technology frontier is accelerating into terrifying territory.
Oh, completely. On a local level, Sri Lanka's data appetite just surged by a staggering 29% in the second quarter alone, heavily driven by the rollout of satellite broadband.
Right, and a 29% leap in data consumption in a single quarter means digital connectivity is bypassing traditional ground infrastructure entirely. Society is moving into the cloud at breakneck speed.
But the hardware required to power that digital leap is triggering a new global conflict. An NVIDIA Taiwan manager is among 9 individuals who have just been indicted in a massive AI chip smuggling operation, funneling advanced processors into China.
Wow.
And the stakes of that computing power have never been higher. Today, the United Nations and the Red Cross issued a joint, urgent warning that the world is, quote, dangerously close to needing strict regulations on killer robots.
Autonomous weapons systems.
Yeah, fully autonomous weapon systems. Like, are we really talking about this? Are we hyper-focusing on the white-collar crime of chip smuggling while sleepwalking into a sci-fi dystopia with unregulated killer robots? Well, the AI chips being smuggled by that NVIDIA manager are the exact processing brains required to run autonomous weapons.
Oh, wow.
Whoever controls the computational power dictates the future of global warfare. The UN and Red Cross are sounding the alarm because an autonomous weapon removes human empathy and moral hesitation from the decision to take a human life.
That is just terrifying.
It is. Our legal systems are built to prosecute smuggling rings and trade violations because we understand tariffs.
Right.
We do not understand how to prosecute a machine that decides to kill on its own. The technological capability of AI is moving so fast that our international legal and moral frameworks are entirely paralyzed.
Let's bring this back to the human element for a second. How we actually survive and interact on a daily basis away from the geopolitics and killer robots.
Good idea.
We have a major health alert today. The local dengue tracker is highly active, urging citizens to learn the crucial symptomatic differences between dengue fever and the seasonal flu.
Which connects directly back to the shifting El Niño weather patterns we discussed at the top of the deep dive.
Oh, so?
Erratic transitions between severe drought and sudden rainfall create the exact stagnant water environments where disease-carrying mosquitoes breed.
Of course, everything is connected. But, amidst the health alerts and geopolitical dread, sports remain the great unifier.
They really do.
In cricket, India took a commanding 1-0 lead over Sri Lanka with a 165-run victory in the Gally Test.
A solid win.
Yeah, Padikal scored a brilliant 100. Pant and Jural played crucial roles too. Oh, and Pasindhu had to step in to replace an injured Chandimal.
Right, a definitive victory for India on the pitch. But honestly, the most important cricketing news today is happening completely off the field.
Yeah, true. Arjuna Ranatunga has officially joined legends Sunil Gavaskar and Steve Waugh in launching a unified public appeal regarding the health and treatment of former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan in Pakistan.
It's amazing. You have a Sri Lankan, an Indian, and an Australian captain universally advocating for a Pakistani legend who transitioned into a highly polarizing political figure.
Yeah, how does the cricket pitch manage to build these enduring bridges of respect that geopolitical leaders entirely fail to construct?
Well, sports operate on a foundation of mutual respect for shared rules, Geopolitics operates on zero-sum domination. Those cricketers see a peer who shared their battlefield. Politicians only see leverage.
That's a great point. And in local sports, Colombo FC maintained a clean sheet today. Kushal and Kayla were officially crowned golf champions.
Nice.
And Trinity's juniors just stamped their class with a dominant performance. Also, looking ahead to the Olympics, Sri Lanka's silver champion has stated they have one final goal left to conquer.
Oh, yeah.
While world number one Ramesh is setting his sights squarely on bringing home Sri Lanka's first ever Olympic gold.
The psychological resilience required to aim for a nation's first Olympic gold, despite all the infrastructural and economic chaos we've discussed today, is remarkable.
Absolutely. We also saw some cultural and business recognition today, with Budi Wickramanayake winning the Executive of the Year award.
Well deserved.
Definitely. But we have to close this segment on a deeply sad note for the global cultural community. Country music legend, the iconic voice behind Jolene, Dolly Parton, has passed away at the age of 80.
Yeah, she was far more than a musician. I mean, she was a master storyteller and an unparalleled cultural touchstone whose influence effortlessly bridged international borders and generations.
She really was. So, taking all of this in today, from the baking heat in Mannar to the collapsing coal tenders, the corrupted prison networks, AI chip smuggling rings, and the passing of a cultural icon, how do we synthesize these dispatches?
Well, when you step back and view this entire deep dive, a massive contradiction emerges.
What do you mean?
We are a society investing billions of dollars and immense political capital into digging for fossil fuels in the Mannar Basin and pouring concrete for physical expressways like the Ruwanpura corridor.
Right.
But simultaneously, our data appetite has surged by 29%. International tech syndicates are smuggling AI chips like narcotics, and the United Nations is warning us about the imminent arrival of autonomous killer robots.
Yeah, it forces a terrifying question, doesn't it? Like, are emerging nations furiously laying down the concrete and oil pipelines required for a 20th century economy, right at the exact moment the rest of the world has irrevocably pivoted to a 21st century AI-driven reality?
Exactly. Are we bankrupting ourselves to build the infrastructure of the past just as the future arrives?
That is something that will absolutely keep you up at night. Keep questioning the headlines, keep looking for the mechanics behind the statistics, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.